Okay, so the
Right, so we're coming into the second penultimate final round of the Currie Cup, and boy, what a weekend for upsets that was. Don't know quite how to approach this because there's a lot to take in, so I'm going to try and be as brief as I can, because I also do want to talk about a little bit about the fantastic victory of the Springboks, women's Springboks team, or the Springbokies as I've dubbed them, and they've done us proud. Literally, have done us a lot of good and a lot of proud on the Women's World Cup Championship stage. But a little bit about that a bit later. Coming into the Suzuki Griquas versus the Toyota Cheetahs, playing off on the Toyota Cheetahs home ground, and the Griquas just absolutely demolished them. What an upset. 40-10 final score. That's a 30-point margin. Yeah, I'm actually at a loss for words. I don't quite know how to absolutely, sort of categorize this. But the visitors dominated with a clinical game, especially within the first half. Going into half time after the 40-minute buzzer, 33-5 in the lead. I don't have any words of encouragement for Franstein, but they're still the playoffs, so I hope they don't lose too much heart. There's still pretty much a chance here going forward. They're still the 7th round now, then we have got the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then the finals going after that. But sure, Creek was now at the top of the log, Cheetahs moving down, and but all the Griquas, was just absolutely in top 4. I mean, George Whitehead himself converting his own try, then plus, 4 other conversions after that. There was no penalty goals whatsoever, no drop goals, nothing. It was just pure try fest this weekend. Zane Bester scoring a try, Caleb Abrams scoring his try, Gershwin Weir scoring 2 tries, after his hat-trick, I think it was last weekend against the Bulls, and then Cameron Hufka scoring his try just before second half as well. So, wow, these guys were on a roll, and there was nothing stopping them. Cheetahs, trying as they might, not being able to wrestle back any kind of semblance of dominance or pressure from the Suzuki Griquas. Marco Jansen van Rensburg scoring a try very early on within the first half, and then Daniel Martins only being able to score a try in the sort of the last 10 minutes of the game, but he had some help. Some help in the fact in the form of 3 Griquas players going off yellow cards. So all-round drama, all-round action going on off in this game. This is the kind of rugby you want to see on a weekend. Fantastic game. And a sad kind of day as well for Victor Sikikete. As captain and log for the Cheetahs, he ran out onto the field for his 100th cap in a Cheetahs jersey. So I'm betting he wanted definitely a better result. Definitely he would have wanted to win, but I'm guessing he would have wanted to hope for an absolutely better result here. So really disappointing on his behalf, and I'm feeling really sorry for him. Gershwin Weir, fantastic intercept there in the second half, coming in for his second try there. The Griquas scored 3 tries in the opening 15 minutes, establishing early territorial dominance. Strong maul play featured prominently within their game as well, for both sides actually. So this was kind of a battle of the front rows, okay? Battle of the front lines. Actually, that sounds very catchy. But the ill discipline of the Griquas within the last 10 minutes kind of saw the Cheetahs just kind of managing to sneak in a second try over there. And despite numerous advantages, the Cheetahs could only manage those 2 tries. Leon Lyons going off for a yellow card within the 65th minute or so, due to repeated offences within the 22. And this was due to now this last ditch of sort of second wind pressure that the Cheetahs suddenly discovered out of nowhere, putting a lot of pressure, a lot of dominance going forward onto the Griquas defensive line. And then Caleb Abrams shortly after that in the 70th minute going off for a cynical offside. And then of course Albert Liebenberg also going off within on the 70th minute as well. So effectively the Griquas was playing with 12 men in the last 10 minutes, and they still put up such a huge dominant defensive effort that eventually had to give underneath the pressure. It eventually had to buckle underneath the pressure of the Cheetahs, but too little too late. Not the best performance from their side, and I'm pretty sure Frans Steyn is going to have a couple of words with the guys going forward from here. Really feeling sorry for Victor Sikikete on this one. So, but yeah, what's done is done. No use crying over spilled milk. Looking forward, they're going to need to start focusing on, there is the playoffs coming, and I'm holding tones for them, honestly. Not just for some semblance of maybe a second or third place within this Currie Cup, because I don't think they're going to do it. I think honestly this Currie Cup belongs to the Griquas, and yeah, going into it, they're definitely going to be the favorites for that one. But yeah, going forward, they're definitely going to maybe have a better chance for a second or third place, depending on obviously how the Boland Cavaliers done. And this weekend wasn't their weekend at all. But definitely I'm thinking more likely of a second place to the Lions, as they came back with an absolute strong comeback this weekend. I'm not going to hatch my chickens, or count my chickens before they hatch, but going forward, definitely I think the Griquas is going to be the favorite here. So yeah, now moving on to the ADT Lions versus the Vodacom Bulls, that played off in Ellis Park, Johannesburg, and second upset of the whole weekend. Lions scoring a massive commanding victory over the Bulls, 44-5. Bulls only managing one unconverted try within the first half, and yeah, the rest of the time it was just really bad performance on the defensive side for the Bulls. The Lions went going very front row heavy, especially with rolling mauls playing a key role within the tries, especially with Kotze and PJ Botha. Chris Smith as well, scoring one try and converting it himself. But his kicking boot was also absolutely fantastic, converting another try with 2 penalty goals that he scored. And then Jaco van der Walt only scoring 1 try within the first half. It didn't quite help them that much. But also, I have to admit that the Bulls is, the whole team going into this game was marred by injury and, of course, the absence of the URC squad. So, I suppose, yeah, with this game, I suppose the coaching team felt, okay, there's no way we're making the playoffs. There is another round coming. Round 7 is coming this weekend, but there's no way they're making the playoffs for the quarter, semis, or finals. So they just decided, okay, let's focus on the next hurdle, get a bit of a head start, and hopefully we can prepare a bit better to maybe make it within a URC victory this year, being robbed twice in the finals 2 years in a row. First, I think it was by Ulster and then by Leinster last year. So definitely they're trying to, get a bit of a head start there, and just to sort of kind of give the Currie Cup up as a bad experience. Hopefully a learning experience for them. But also, aside from the injuries and the absence of the WRWC squad, also the discipline was just not there. Simpiwe Matamzima being yellow carded for the Bulls committing repeated infringements, and that's obviously not his fault. It just happens as the pressure is on, and you're desperately trying to mount a defense to try and keep them away from your goal line. A lot of times it does happen that forced errors creep in. Too many happen. Obviously, I think it was about 3 or 4. Then you are going to get a warning from the referee, and Sean Miller, sure enough, gave him a warning. The next infringement was Simpiwe going off with the yellow card. So unfortunately, he was just the unlucky candidate to be on the receiving end there. Yellow cards to Cornell Smith and Marco Ferreira also didn't help. Ruan Venter getting a yellow card within the second half, but that kind of just didn't help. Sure, it was for 10 minutes. Lions was down to 14 men, but still, Bulls couldn't convert that opportunity. They couldn't take advantage of that and convert that into points. So, yeah, that's unfortunately the end of the Bulls campaign for this Currie Cup season. And now we're looking forward to the WRC and hopefully to see them doing a lot better in that one. So, coming on to the Hollywood Bet Sharks versus the Boland Cavaliers this last weekend at Woodburn Stadium, Pietermaritzburg. Sharks came off with a nail-biting victory. I mean, this is literally just... But it was edge of the seat stuff. Honestly, another upset, third upset for the weekend. Wow. But hard fought victory. I don't think anybody kind of expected this. I think we all kind of expected the Cavaliers victory here because they've been really doing very well within this Currie Cup. Nearly said WRC here. But honestly, fantastic effort by the Sharks. I don't think the Sharks is going to make it for the playoffs because I think the top 4 has already been decided between the Cheetahs, the Creequas, the Lions, and the Boland Cavaliers. Boland Cavaliers basically still scoring a 2 really crucial log points in this game. But yeah, unfortunately, if it wasn't for Sia Masuku, they probably would have won it. Probably would have gone into I think it was 31-30 in the dying moments, and then unfortunately for the Cavaliers, penalty awarded to the Sharks. Sia Masuku comes in, and this guy really, I mean, is a fantastic player and very underrated. I honestly rate him as very highly. I think he's an absolute gem to the Sharks, and I would love to see him. I think he used to be in the Springbok jersey now, but I'd love to see him back in the Springbok jersey again. Of course, both teams going very front row heavy set plans, as most of the South African teams did, except for the Western Province. Jacques Marais scoring 2 tries, getting his man of the match, and obviously very well deserved. Albie Bester getting another try for himself as well within the Currie Cup. John Smith making 3 conversions and 3 penalty goals, being spot on, deadly with his kicking boot. And then, like I said already, Sia Masuku getting his long distance penalty goal, winning the match for his team. Zule Arendse getting a try, as well as Donovan Don, Dayan van der Westhuizen, HP van Schoor, and James Tedder really having a fantastic day with this kicking. 4 conversions, 1 penalty goal. And John Smith also having an absolutely outstanding game before he was replaced as well at fly-off position. Sharks built up a 13-point lead at one stage through territorial dominance. Like I said, both teams being very front row heavy, especially with their mauls. A lot of the tries going in there for their mauls, and then Jacques Marais also, being an absolute stalwart as a captain for his team, leading from the front, getting those driving mauls going, and doing overall a fantastic job over there, getting the Sharks' second victory for this Currie Cup season. But it was a risking kick by the Cavaliers scrum of Golden Simla in the dying seconds of the game that lost them possession, as they tried to make an absolute desperate play for just some more points on the scoreboard, as they're now 2 points behind. Lost possession, ball kicked into touch, and the celebrations, I think, could probably be heard into Okinawa. The Sharks absolutely jumping out of their skins. This was a huge match for them. Absolutely fantastic results as well, and well done. Perfect performance by the Sharks here. Fantastic game. Love to see more of those. Also, again, it's only one round left, and I don't think the Sharks is going to be able to make it into the quarters. But yeah, really feather in their cap. I think that's probably given them a massive morale boost going forward from here into the future games. Right, so now we have, last but not least, the Western Province versus Eling Pumas that played in the DHL Stadium on Saturday. I believe it was Saturday evening. And we above all hoped that hopefully Western Province would make a breakthrough here on their home ground, and didn't happen. All right, Pumas staged a successful second half comeback, securing a 39-13 victory over the Western Province. Secured a valuable bonus point try to keep a victory, to kind of keep their place or possible spot within the playoffs coming up. And that match was basically characterized, I think, as two distinct contrasting performances by this teams. Western Province obviously trying to go for more backline heavy play with zero defense really happening. Whilst the Eling Pumas basically trying to go for more front row heavy play, badgering the defenses until it literally buckled, which basically just gave the Eling Pumas every kind of opportunity that they needed, really. Connor Evans and Carl Smith basically scoring for Western Province. Evans scoring the only try, with Carl Smith converting and then doing a penalty goal, getting them to 13 points before half time. Pumas basically coming back with Andre Fouchier, Tian de Klerk, Sango Kamlashe. I hope I'm saying that's right. It's all these new players. I'm not quite used to the pronunciation of their names yet. Darren Adonis, Junior Banda, Clinton Swart, also scoring 4 conversions and 2 penalty goals. So he's definitely had his kicking boots on for that game. Plus, with his entire team just working as one cohesive unit, it was very hard for the Western Province to actually make any kind of comeback towards the end of the second half. Connor Evans scoring in the opening minute of it was literally in about 30 seconds. He scored a try in the opening minute of the first half, and Junior Banda then scored the last minute try to completely rout the Western Province team and dash every single hope that there was for any kind of noticeable headway in the Currie Cup log. Western Province dominated early territory, but that obviously, like I said, totally crushed eventually. The Pumas Maul provided decisive breakthroughs with Fashir's try just before half time, and then the second half belonged entirely to the Pumas without a single sort of point scoring effort by the Western Province paying off. Pumas then sealed the bonus point 10 minutes before full time through Adonis's brilliant try. Basically eliminating the Western Province from the playoff in this Currie Cup season. Now, coming into round 7. Let me first go onto the log for the round 6 results. We're now sitting with the Griquas at 25 points, right at the top of the logs, with 5 wins out of 6 games that they played, 1 loss. Sanlam Bulan Cavaliers, they're sitting at 23 points in second place. Fidelity ADT Lions coming in at third with 21 points. They are kind of equal to Toyota Cheetahs, scoring in at 4, also 21 points, fourth place. Ealing Pumas only having a 20 points, but still, within contention for the playoffs. Vodacom Bulls on 10 points, Hollywood Sharks 10 points as well, and DHL Stormers gracing the bottom of the log with 1 point, which is basically a losing bonus point they scored early on in the Currie Cup, basically. So yeah, there we have it. Round 7 coming up this coming weekend from Friday on the 6th of September. We're standing there with the Hollywood Best Sharks against the Ealing Pumas at 7 o'clock in Durban. So again, Sharks being graced right at the end of the Currie Cup with sort of a home game. The win is a must for the Pumas to secure the top 4 spots. So definitely, come what may, the Pumas is going to absolutely pull out all the stops, go for the jugular, as they really need to secure quite a comfortable win over here. If they get a bonus point win, absolute playoff position secured. No two ways about it. Pumas, they have got the momentum for the playoff, and the desperation for wanting that should see them through, because then it's only basically trying to just scoring wins as they go forward to basically put them into contendership for the finals, if they get that far. But the desperation might kind of carry them through. It just depends on, at that stage of the championship, it just depends on who wants it more, really. On Saturday, 7th September, we've got the DHL Western Province versus Sanlam Bulan Cavaliers at about 2:15 in the afternoon at the DHL Stadium. The Western Cape Derby is going to be a bloodbath, I think. Cavaliers are gonna fight to maintain their second place. A loss to the Western Province will definitely, that's not going to bode very well for their Currie Cup championship, goals or dreams. But I'm pretty sure the Cavaliers will be able to pull it through. They have been in more superior form than most of the teams, except now obviously for I think it was the ATT Lions that gave the Cavaliers 1-4. But it's a loss that they're not going to want to repeat at all. Fidelity ATT Lions is facing off against the Griquas at 5 o'clock at the Ellis Park Stadium in Johannesburg. So Lions on their home ground, that might give them a bit of an advantage, but I'm not quite sure what kind of an advantage that's going to give them. Griquas being the log leaders, they have been really in strong form, only losing 1 game to, I think it was the Cavaliers. So yeah, ever since that, they've really been on absolute top form. And definitely, I think they're the guys that's going to want it the most. It's going to be a high stakes encounter, really, to be honest. So it could go either way. Definitely, Griquas looking forward to secure the home field victory over the Lions to really secure their place within the playoffs. Although I think it's already secured. that's a done deal. Vodacom Bulls against the Toyota Cheetahs in Pretoria, and I'm pretty sure the Toyota Cheetahs are not going to want to repeat last weekend. That dismal, absolute dismal performance and loss, I mean, totally being grounded into the ground by the Lions, must have really kind of irked their ego a bit. Being knocked down, what was it, 3 places? They went from top of the log to 4th, so they definitely not going to want to have to repeat that. It's that's got to smart. That's really got to hurt. And the ego's definitely got to take a knock. So Frans Stein's going to have to really talk long and hard to the guys, get some motivation back into their shorts there. Both teams are going to be fighting for playoffs positions, although I think the Bulls not really standing a chance here. Cheetahs again also have been in superior form and should see the staking their claim to the spot in the playoffs coming up. So the playoffs. I know I'm talking a lot about the playoffs. It's heating up. The contestation for that, the top 4 teams is definitely, top 5 positions is definitely heating up here. So it's going to be an absolute race. The Pumas must face a win situation against the Sharks to secure their spot. The Cavaliers' dramatic loss still, it didn't do them any kind of favors, but they are still a pretty strong contender. So I think their spot is very much secure, them and the Griquas. So it's very tentative at the moment for the Pumas, the Cheetahs, and the Lions. So anything can happen, and we'll have to see what happens. One of those 3 teams are going to go home without any luck. Griquas now being on the top of the log. The Lions with the back-to-back wins seems to be coming back extremely strong. So would that be enough to secure them a place in the playoffs? That remains to be seen. The struggling sides: Bulls, Western Province, Cheetahs. Cheetahs, I think, has still got a very, very good chance to get in, and I think a better chance than the Sharks, to be brutally honest. Bulls and Western Province, they can pack the bags so long. They're going home. Start preparing for the WRWC. Because that is going to be the next hurdle to get over. But again, wonderful performances by, some really key players this weekend. George Whitehand's perfect kicking score, getting him in such a huge accolades for the Griquas. Chris Smith has a masterclass against his former Bull teammates. Absolutely doing fantastically well. That little grubber with the chase that he gave right early in the first half was absolutely fantastic play, honestly. And he's also, with his kicking boots on, there was rarely any misses by him. John Smith, fly of excellence before Masuka came in with his heroic, long goal kick, long distance goal kick, sorry. Was just absolutely amazing. And then of course Jacques Marais, man of the match performance with his performance in the malls for the Sharks. So hopefully be seeing a lot more of that kind of performances coming up this weekend. We are really psyched for that, and definitely going to be looking forward to some excellent rugby this weekend. We are also, of course, having the Springboks coming up against the All Blacks at Eden Park this weekend. So there's a lot of kind of controversy going over that. A lot of ex-players kind of weighing in. The more notable one being Stephen Kitsoff recently, basically just alerting everybody, the All Blacks might have a pretty intimidating name and reputation behind them. But like he points out, they're not gods. They men. They bleed just as well as any other man, and they can lose just as well as any other team. The Springboks is in top form, but yeah, it all remains to be seen. The Springboks hasn't beaten the All Blacks at Eden Park since 1937. Now that's a huge, it's like, I think 7 decades ago. You know, I mean, 1937, or nearly 7 decades ago. It's going to be a clash, and it's going to be a heavy one. This is going to be probably one of the meetings of the ages, one of the derbies for the ages, really, between two real titans of the Southern Hemisphere. Absolutely, I'm psyched for it. I simply cannot wait. I'm gonna kill anybody that's gonna stand in my way to missing this game. But honestly, it's gonna be grit. It's gonna be brutal. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Can the Springboks do it? I believe they can. I would even hazard a guess, probably with a 3-point margin, 1 to 3 point margin. It's going to be nail-biting, but I do believe that we can do it. If we do win, though, and especially with a bonus point, we will be reclaiming our spot at the top of the lock at the moment. We are lying second, All Blacks lying right at the top. Obviously losing a few points, you know, after the embarrassing loss to the Argentinians. But, you know, I mean, they did win the first round against Argentina. So, I mean, like Will Jordan has, and it wasn't Will Jordan that said, you know, that we need to accept that a lot of these more obscure teams within the Southern Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere, like Italy, like Portugal, like Argentina, they are making improvements. The same with the Wallabies. We saw the last 2 years that they haven't been doing well. They've really been struggling. And I think that kind of slump is over. They've been playing absolutely magnificent rugby in the last 2 weeks, or the last 2 games against us, scoring a victory. So definitely we have to accept the fact that a lot of these more smaller, obscure teams are making improvements to themselves. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be, but it's going to be a tight game. Tough game, but tight game. And now, finally, as promised, I'm going to talk about the South African, or the Springboks, taking on Italy in the World Cup, the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025. Played in York, at the York Community Stadium in England. That was on the 31st of August. Last week Sunday, the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025, 15th match of Pool D, and this was an historic event for a few reasons. Number one, the South Africa, the Springboks won by 29 to 24 points, securing a bonus point victory for them. And it's the first ever time that the South African women's team makes it to a quarterfinal within a World Cup set or setting. Bonus point victory even makes it that much more significant, as it really shows a massive progression and improvement in their overall gameplay. And the fact that Italy was ranked 4 places above the Springboks on the world rankings makes this even such a significant upset. It was just amazing. So Springboks are through to the quarterfinals. History in the making. A lot of people described it as a quasi-knockout match with like massive playoff implications. Italy will now not go through to the quarterfinals or the knockout matches. It came with visible emotion. I mean, after that final whistle, I mean, Swayster Brains girls just absolutely went mad. They couldn't believe their luck. They celebrated themselves to with such amazing victory. And it just shows you, yet again, what can happen if you put in 110% for 80 minutes of that entire game. Not once did they let up. and it paid dividends. Aseza Hele basically scoring her first try, or the opening try of the match, right out of a scrum base. And then Nadine Ruiz basically in the 20th minute scores a fantastic try, and after a dummy play by Janssen by the fly off Janssen van Rensburg. Ayanda Malinga also finished a fantastic team move after Ruiz's sort of offload to her, getting a try in there. Sizufila Solonti, excuse me, she just borrowed over, I think is probably the right the correct term to say, or just bulldozed after some, a set play of sustained pressure that eventually caused the Italians to buckle in the defensive efforts. Match-winning try was then basically scored by the flanker Sinazo Nkachulwa. Sorry, I'm trying to get these names right. It's just, I'm not familiar with these players, but I'm absolutely, it just doesn't mean that I'm not paying attention to the South African women's team. I think it's absolutely wonderful that we've come so far in leaps and bounds over such a short period of time, making such a great, absolute, fantastic headway in the rugby world. And then Swayster Brain's tactics, not always paying dividends in the past, but he kind of kept with it, kept pushing, and it's now paying off. Sort of like a long-term investment opportunity. Kick conversions. Bayrandre Dorf, basically scoring 2 conversions from 5 attempts, and then Italy as well, scoring 2 conversions out of 4 attempts. It was kind of a seesaw matchup. Italy quite valiantly equalizing the score on quite a few occasions. In the 24th minute, their first try happened after the sustained attack by Vittoria Ostuni Menuzzi. Sorry, it's not just our girls whose names I'm struggling with, okay? Vittoria Vincini, the hooker, then crashed through after a good build-up work over there. In the 47th minute, so basically mostly in the second half, the Italians kind of tried to mount a valiant kind of pushback effort. Francesca Sugubrini then leveled the score on the 47th minute, 17 all, via the clever line-out move. And then Sarah Seye her try that made it to 24-24, setting up a grandstand finish. And it was just after that, then basically boom, we got our girls got themselves to 29 points, securing the victory there for themselves. Girl of the match, man of the match, girl of the match, Libby Janssen van Rensburg. She named the MasterCard player of the match with a fantastic performance in the fly-off position. Really kind of a heroic display from her as well. Absolute fantastic rugby. Really, if you guys can go and watch it, I'll try and find a link and put it into the description there. There is a wonderful website that I kind of catch up on all the games that I miss. It's called the Rugby 24 website, but I'll put the link in the description as well for you guys. It's a fantastic match. South Africa's direct, powerful, forward-oriented game with clinical finishing just made all the difference for them. Italy, had a more of expansive approach with good defensive scrambling, but yeah, unfortunately, due to prolonged pressure always being applied to the defensive lines, eventually it had to give, especially when it comes right up to the goal line. Both teams utilizing rolling mauls with line-out drives quite effectively. The quick ball movements and support play featured also prominently, and was really a good job there, done there by both teams. Key moments. Game stopped when Sarah Tonesi was basically injured. Yeah, but it's carried off on a stretcher, but still acknowledge the applause and everybody, and I really hope she does make a full recovery very soon. Yeah, all our thoughts go with her and her family and her team as well, because honestly, it's never nice to see kind of that kind of impact injury happening on the field. You always start really worrying for the player and their future as well within the game. The penalty from a scrum that led to a sustained pressure around about the 16th minute, that paid off dividends to South Africa as well. Italy twice levered the score, like I said, with a tremendous resilience. And then in the 47th minute, Shula's match-winning try really just, from bench impact. I mean, so she was like sort of part of the Springbokies version of the bomb squad coming in, really made a strong play that paid off for her as well. Fantastic play there, really, and a massive congratulations to her. I mean, it's really in a World Cup situation for you to score such strong points for your team and make such a strong performance. It must be worth every moment of pride that comes back to you. You know, I mean, you've just got, you can't but feel proud of yourself and your efforts and everything that you've done. And I'm pretty sure Schweiz must be massively proud and impressed with his girls making such a huge win for themselves. Absolutely amazing. Was the only words that Libby could basically get out or use to describe the match for herself as she received her Player of the Match reward. So yeah, where does this leave South Africa? Women's team. Playoffs are going to be tough. The spot within the knockout rounds was basically secured by the French beating Brazil 48-0. So yeah, if they should ever meet the French now within the knockout rounds, that's going to be a tough game. Really tough game. But even if they don't make it past the quarterfinals, that's at least a feather in their caps. They've made history. For the first time ever, the South African women's team has made it to the quarterfinals in a Women's World Cup. And that by itself is no small feat. There's no, they really can be proud of themselves. So, yes, absolutely fantastic display of rugby. Can't wait for the future games happening here. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Please leave me a like and subscribe at the below this video, and give me your comments. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about the Springboks victory over Italy this last weekend? Also, what do you think their prospects is going forward in this Women's World Cup? Will they maybe be able to see the semi-finals? We can hope. But also, what do you think the chances of the Springboks making history yet again, beating All Blacks at Eden Park? Like I said, they haven't done it since 1937, and that was, funny enough, the last time South Africa graced the All Blacks with the Zulu and Ndlamo. Now, I've spoken about this before. The All Blacks has always reserved the haka for playing overseas. That year, they graced the Springboks for, I think it was the Freedom Cup. Yeah, they graced the Springboks with a haka on their home soil, and the Springboks immediately reciprocated with the Ndlamo, a Zulu war dance of their own. It made history. And I would have loved to have seen this. I don't think they prepared anything like that for this time around, but I would have loved to have seen that happening once again. It would have really just made that historic moment all the more special if we manage to beat them again on, at Eden Park. But anyway, guys, yeah, give me your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously, stay warm. It's still, it's getting a bit warmer here in Cape Town, but the nights are still pretty much cold. So take care of yourself and your loved ones. I'll see you next week with my next level of next series of analysis for this weekend's games. Thank you very much, guys. Peace out.
He's been robbed, and here comes Nadine Ruiz. Almost losing the handle was Kawe. She holds on to it. Now Charlie. Guala. Soze changes direction to her captain, Nolusindi Soboy. Janse van Rensburg with a beautiful dummy. She's got options left and right. Inside to Nadine Ruiz. And that is a quite